convinced that masculinity is bestowed, that being in the company of men who act, well, like men, is essential to a young boy's upbringing. With that in mind, I'm taking my 6-year-old on a hunting adventure that puts him in the company of men. Hunting is not essential to masculinity. Men much greater than I have never touched it. But hunting can provide a good theater for masculinity to flourish and be passed on. And so we're going on an open country mule deer hunt with my friend Sam Parada. Sam is a waterfowler and trapper turned bow hunter and a real man's man. He's tough, he's passionate about the truth, and he lives to honor Christ as king. Just the type of man I want my son to be around. This adventure is going to flirt with the boundaries of what a 6-year-old is capable of. I like that. But I'm also going to take it into account. I want him to have a good experience, not a bad one. And so we'll take it slow and end up watching Sam get into some big deer and celebrating with him.
No problem.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Not ugly.
Yeah, not ugly.
Not ugly.
Unlike this guy right here.
Ah, thank you.
But
There are about a gazillion good vantage points, so we're trying to figure out which one we want Sam to go to and which one, or what Brody and I'll do for this evening. I'm going to take it really slow with him. He's never done anything like this, a mule deer hunt with open country, looking, perhaps walking a fair bit, and maybe doing a stalk, although tonight I think is pretty much scouting. So we'll see. Brody and I are heading out to our first lookout. We're probably not going to stay here till dark because there's another couple of places we need to check. We're going to have to drive to look at them, so tonight is really just a scouting night. But we want to get out, look at the scenery, and try and see if we can find a few deer.
the deer are bedded down in here, and they're gonna come up into that grass to feed. First deer, little white-tailed buck, still in velvet. Pretty cool. First night out here. This is actually my first time mule deer hunting, so I'm pretty excited. But I'm green, so I really don't know what I'm doing, and I'm also trying to self-film this hunt, which is also really hard. Some of the professionals try to self-film hunts, and they whiff it, and it's hard, and you know, it's just the way it is. But it'd be really cool if I could get some footage of some deer, and it'd be really cool if I could get some footage of me shooting a deer. But that's, I mean, it's hard to shoot a deer regardless, let alone shoot a deer and get it on video all by yourself. This might be an area where, you know, a mule deer pops out of one of these coulees or one of these draws and hops right into this cornfield that I've been looking at, or into this hayfield. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna camp out by this hay bale for a while and do some glassing and see what I can see. Just saw 2 bucks. I'm gonna try to sneak up on them. It's maybe 10 minutes left of shooting, so I don't know if I'm gonna get them in time. They don't look big though, but I'm gonna at least try to get up close enough to really get a look at them.
Brody and I saw about 16 deer tonight, 7 bucks. Providentially, we actually left the rangefinder at the first kind of peak we looked at and glassed from. And so we had to go back kind of right after dusk. And we drove by a field near there and got the headlights out there and saw 3 nice bucks that had come out right at last light from an area we have ability to hunt. So that's our best option so far, and so tomorrow that's probably where we'll head and what we'll try and figure out. Early September sunrises are a conundrum when hunting with a 6-year-old. Do we get up and go for it, or do I let him get some more sleep in hopes of staving off a meltdown later in the trip? I decided it best not to take Brody out at first light, and we sent Sam to the spot where we saw the bucks the night before. We've seen 7 does just from the tent cross through the field, and we're gonna get down in and see if any buck comes through that same area. But if not, this is gonna be good practice for us stalking a deer, because we haven't done this together yet, and so we're gonna be figuring it out together. My buddies got my bow, so yeah, we'll see what happens. That was excellent practice for us, getting a chance to get out and stalk a couple deer and trying for me to figure out how on earth you do this with a 6-year-old, and for him to have fun and learn to kind of follow my directions and really just learn what are we doing when we're trying to stalk a deer, what's the strategy, how are we going to play the wind, how are we going to stay out of sight, even just the simple reality that when you come up to a hill, you got to come up slowly and peek over. You know, he just initially just wants to go for it. And so that was excellent. I think it'll help us a lot this trip. If you hunt long enough, it'll happen to you. A buck appears, and at first glance you think it's huge, only to realize upon closer inspection that your mind played tricks on you. We see what we want to see, as the saying goes. Sam saw what he thought was a mature whitetail buck disappear over the hill, only to have this littler buck appear on the next ridge. Disappointed, he concludes that buck fever gave him rose-colored glasses. He saw what he wanted to see. He continues filming the little buck, oblivious to the fact that he did in fact see a big buck go over the hill, and that the big guy had a little buddy leading the way. But without seeing them together, he thinks they're the same deer. Boy, is he about to get a surprise. For my arrow, any sign of any blood, and couldn't find the arrow, couldn't find any blood. Right when I made the shot on the deer, I was pretty confident I actually missed. It was just, there's just so much going on. He was walking in at a pretty decent pace, and I was trying to obviously get the shot on film. I drew back as he was looking down on the ground as he was walking, and the last I had ranged him, it was about 50 yards. So I thought he had walked about 10 yards, so I was going to use my 40 pin. As I was lining up the shot, I glanced over at the screen on the video camera, and he was out of frame. So I nudged the camera with my elbow to get it back in frame. Finally got him back in frame with my elbow while being drawn back. Starting to get tired at this point, and then I lined up the shot and was shaking a little bit. I thought it would be all right, and right when I made the shot, he jumped the string, but I still don't know if I hit him or not at that moment. I thought maybe I still could have. My hunch was I didn't. I think you'll hear in the video that I said I'm pretty sure I missed. But then I went back to the footage to just see for sure, see if I got it on camera. And sure enough, right when I shot, he had just walked out of frame. So I didn't get it on film either, which is kind of a bummer. And this is a good life lesson, I guess, or good biblical lesson in that your treasure is in heaven. It's not on this earth. This buck was awesome. It would have been really sweet to have killed it because it would have been a mountain velvet whitetail shot out of the badlands. Just amazing earthly treasure. But again,
store our treasure up in heaven. Christians store their treasure up in heaven. I store my treasure up in heaven, and I can't take my whitetail mounts to heaven with me. So just this allows me to, or just really reminds me that, again, am I living for the world? Yes, it's great that I get to experience these worldly pleasures in this sense. I mean, hunting it fundamentally isn't sinful. It's a good gift that God has given us, but we can make it sinful, and we us men tend to make it sinful a lot. We tend to idolize it a lot. It'd be really easy to idolize that buck and to idolize this opportunity and idolize this just this experience, and to live from experience to experience. But then once this life is done, no more experiences, and all that treasure, all that work was in vain, because it doesn't last. It's not eternal. So it just reminds me to focus on the eternal treasure, and not the temporal treasure, and also, teaches me and drives me into prayer, so that I don't make these temporal experiences idols, and just learn how to glorify God in them and enjoy every opportunity that He gives me, and every good gift that He gives me. But hopefully I'll get another opportunity at maybe a mule deer buck, but you never know.
Hunting with a 6-year-old is an adventure. Bro, do you want your coffee? Sam handed me.
No.
Okay. I want your coffee. A little bit.
No.
Just a little. Sam, why don't you tell Brody what you thought about after you missed this buck? Because, bro, that buck was the biggest buck Sam would have ever shot in his life.
Yep.
That was his biggest one. And he missed. But he has a good perspective on this.
I mean, it instantly made me think about, boy, I am very thankful that I have eternal treasure that's being stored up in a place where I can't lose it. No thief can steal it. It won't rot away. It won't rust. The moss won't eat it. It's secure. So this buck, I'm watching him come in, and it's like treasure, Brody. We want it. We want to shoot this buck,
yep.
And we get all worked up about it. It's like seeing a treasure chest full of gold, and you're like, oh, I want it.
Yep. I want it. That's the key.
And here he comes.
I want it.
And he's almost mine.
Yeah.
There's just a couple more obstacles I got to get over, such as making a good shot, and
trying to get it on camera, and
bumping
bumping it over with your elbow to keep it in the frame.
All this stuff. And even getting it on camera is, in some sense, a bit of a treasure thing too, because now you got this thing you can look at.
You can remember and show your friends.
And all this stuff, but it's not certain. It's not guaranteed. I might miss it, and even if I made the perfect shot and it died, and I got it mounted, and there it was on my wall, it would only last, who knows how many years. Let's say I die in 10 years. I got to enjoy this earthly treasure for 10 years, but really it's temporal. It's not eternal, like eternal treasure is, the treasure that we store up in heaven. And we are able to do that, Brody, because we are Christians. And so we can actually store up treasure. Cool, amazing treasure that lasts forever in heaven. And we don't have to get super bummed out about missing our opportunities to store up earthly treasure.
Yeah.
Because those things, even if we do get it, they'll pass away one time. They'll pass away one day. And they won't last forever.
Yeah.